Absolutely. And we have started. Welcome, everyone, to the Change of Faces podcast. We're back for episode 12, and it is good to be back, even though we haven't really been anywhere. But, I mean, essentially, it's always been a bit of time in between when we do our episodes, basically. And, yes, it is another action-packed episode, but welcome along, everyone. For everyone that is obviously watching this on YouTube or on Twitch or on Mixcloud, be sure to like and subscribe and follow or whatever it is on those or on all those platforms for more of our Change of Faces content. And of course, for all your listeners, be sure to like and subscribe and follow on wherever you get your podcasts from. We've got a whole host of places where you can be listening to the Change of Faces podcast as well, including Apple Podcast, YouTube Music, Amazon Music, Deezer, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Angami, TuneIn, Podchaser, Castbox, Podcast Index, Listen Notes, and Player FM. I did all that just so Dave doesn't have to. But yes, essentially, welcome along, and thumbs up to Dave there as well. But more on him in just a second. Guys, what can I say? There is, once again, I'm in this scenario where there is so much going on, we can't cover all of it. We just can't. So, I mean, thankfully, Dave's joining me as well. There he is, look.
Hello.
He's over there with his delightful jumper on as well. Dave Collins, welcome back to the show, because you were not present for the last one, and so you missed Dan using a poor choice of words, especially when we were covering the Wasserman Epstein news story, and you missed us both banging on about Ibiza, and especially from Dan, who was banging on about bloody Akasha.
Doesn't surprise me, mate.
And then he had the absolute cheek to round it all off at the back, right at the end of it, to be like, do you know what? I don't think people should go because it needs to stay niche. It needs to stay underground. It's like,
I heard that. It's so funny.
Come on, man. You can't be doing this to everyone. But yeah, bless him. So that was basically the summary of the Ibiza preview. But the Ibiza preview was so big, we didn't even finish all of it. That just goes to show how big and gargantuan it is. And speaking of things that are big and gargantuan, guys, let me let you know. Let me tell you all the things we're going to get into, because also our Dave over there, look, he doesn't know either. But in today's show, we're going to be going through a whole host of stuff. So imminently, in a minute, we're going to see Wally, because we found him, folks. Then we're going to be checking in with our favorite Brazilian keyboard performer. He's got another update from him. Then we've got what happens when you bring the wrong USB to practice your DJing. And then we've got a brilliant combination between a roller coaster and a party. That's brilliant. And then what happens when the pyro is too hot? Literally, when it's too hot. We're going to see that in a moment or later on. Then we've got a bit of a video that's a bit sad for the music industry. It's something not nice to hear or listen to, but yeah, more on that later on in the show. Then we're going to go into the news, and it's one of those things again where there is so many things going on. Some of it might be old, some of it's fairly recent, but we have to cover. We just got to cover these things, because when I saw these pieces of news, Dave, I'm telling you now, it's another one of those things where I was like, it's almost like you can't script this stuff. But we're going to go into, I won't tell you what the first news story is, because it's just too crazy to hint. So it's just a mad story, but we'll get into that later. We're also going to go into steer management, steering artists away. More on that later. And we're going to be recapping on a story about Alpha Theta and their firmware update. Then we're going to be sort of finishing things up with something quite nice, and something to do with Manchester, about a club reopening that me and Dave both have love for. So we're going to be covering that a little bit later on. And then there's some, basically the fifth news story, which is sort of going into the discussion topic, is douchebags of Live Nation. Dave, douchebags. There's some douchebags of Live Nation that's been exposed, and we're going to get into that a little bit later on.
Wait,
yeah, I'm telling you now. Wait, you'll say exactly the same thing when we get into that a little bit later on. And then we're going to be covering something that we tried to cover in the last episode, but we never got around to it. Maybe we'll get into it this time round. But essentially, it was a discussion topic about coffee clubbing and soft clubbing. Soft clubbing, Dave. Coffee clubbing. Just on the basis of all that as a summary, do you think, are you surprised by any of that, or are you shocked by any of that, or what?
Coffee. Someone stole my idea. I think I said this at one point, that the club should have coffee. Is this a thing there?
Vice versa.
Oh, okay.
So the party's coming to the coffee place.
Oh, well, you know.
Yeah. So you're nearly there, but yeah, not quite. But it's caused a bit of a stir, shall we say?
Oh, right, okay.
Oh God. But more on that later on, because right now we've got to get into some shit right now, because basically we found him, folks. Let me see where is it? Oh, it's here. Sorry. Don't you worry, folks. We got him. No! You see him, Dave?
Where'd he go? He disappeared again! No, there he is!
Can you see him?
He's real! He's real, people! Fucking real!
Dave, have you ever seen Wally at a party?
I have. I've seen several.
Oh, God, really?
Yeah.
So who would have thought after all this time Wally's at a party? And
it's like you ever go on student nights? Everyone was dressed as like random stuff like this.
Well, I'll definitely say for Halloween, I feel like that's something I could potentially pull off in the near future. Why not, right?
Yeah, why not, man?
Something I know I definitely can't pull off, although at least I can try my hardest, is trying to pull off replicating this gentleman. Dave, you remember this guy from what episode was it? Episode 10?
It's just the crazy keyboard guy with his tongue and stuff.
Oh, you bet your ass it is.
Yeah, he's great.
But let's just check in and see like how he's getting on. This is like meanwhile over in Brazil. There it goes. I kind of have a feeling like I'd love to book this guy for like Ken's birthday party.
I'm gonna say he's making money off this, you know, he's doing something right.
Oh God. And I swear it's that tinny trumpety sound. There's just something about that noise. It's just
I love it.
Oh God. So yeah, this guy is back again basically, and he definitely has. Hey, he's got talent, right, Dave?
Right. Yeah. Look, I mean, he's got dedication, right?
Yeah. This. Oh yeah. Do you know what? I'll just quickly mention that the first clip that we were looking at about Where's Wally, that was courtesy of Meme Chaotic on X, and then this one that we're looking at is courtesy of @Romain_Longo on Instagram, who thankfully captured this delightful piece of footage. He's put the captions as #weddings, #wedding day, #DJ. Dave, you having him for your wedding?
Yeah, sure. It's better than a mobile DJ, isn't it? You know what I mean?
You can just imagine like dancing with your new bride. I mean, you know, we can make it work, couldn't we? Yeah, I don't know why. Folks like those like a lot of you won't know this, but like obviously we have a friend Ken, which we'll just keep it as that, just Ken. But it kind of reminds me of Ken. Do you get what I mean, Dave?
Yeah, I think so. I have distinct memories of when you got harmonica.
Yes. Yes. This is yeah, the best way we could describe it is me and Dave
it's like
both
a down cat.
Yeah, me and Dave have a friend, an old friend of ours, Ken, who basically if it ever came to him obtaining some form of musical instrument, he was sort of kind of like this, same energy, maybe not hitting the right notes, I'll be really honest, but it was a performance and a half, wasn't it? Eh?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah. But I will say, before performances go on, obviously you need to rehearse. But of course, you can't rehearse like this, should I say. You might struggle to view this, but obviously a CDJ 3000 screen is bloody enormous. You might see it, but let's
it's
just
like
say
an iPad. It's massive.
it quite literally is. But let's take a quick look of this.
So, guys, I think I brought the wrong USB stick to practice, and I do not know whose USB stick is this, but yeah.
Is that?
Oh my god. So, guys,
my favorite, I didn't see that before, but my favorite folder was saving Ryan's privates.
I saw midgets and I was like, wait, what? Clown.
Batman
There's
in
Batman
Robin.
in Robin.
Dave, how do you describe some of these playlist folders?
I mean, I don't know. Guy's got taste, you know what I mean?
Imagine pulling up to play and you're like, they're like, oh, you're gonna play any house night? You can be like, no, I'm gonna play out of Cooch Almighty, and I'm gonna mix it up with interracial midgets gay. Yeah, and yeah, this comes courtesy of Gemstargram on Instagram and DJ Collective SG. Gemstargram saying here, quote, I brought the wrong USB stick for practice. And then my favorite comment is from a rich techno saying that stick is full of bangers. And
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of banging going on in that, you know what I mean? Like...
yeah, so our fellow DJ.
Can the CDJ play video files? I'm actually curious now. Not that she should play.
Why do you want to do it, Eve?
I'm just curious.
Oh, really?
I wonder if you could like have video files
mix midget gay with like Cooch Almighty. It's got a whole new meaning to BPM, right?
Oh Jesus.
Yeah, a little bit less of that, folks. So yeah, my fellow DJs, please make sure USB sticks are in there.
I like he opens it up with, I don't know who's this. Did he like say it's like, I don't know whose this is? But the wrong. He's like, yeah, right, mate.
Whoops.
This is yours. Yeah.
You ass be more like. Yes. Some fantastic stuff there, and there is more fantastic stuff to come. And folks, I don't know whether you realize as well, but like in the last episode and in the past few episodes, I have noticed when I've watched back some of our podcast episodes that it takes us ages to get into all the content, and then we end up like running out of time. And I'm a bit conscious of it, so I'm trying to like fly through some of these. So I don't know if I'm going too fast or too slow. But Dave, what do you reckon our pace is like? Do you think we're going too quick, or do you think we're going too slow here?
Let's keep going. Let's keep the momentum.
I mean, let's keep the let's keep the train going, I guess. If you can, like, I don't know whether that counts as a sledgeway into this next thing. I can't play it with music because there's copyrighted music on there. But Dave, this might be the coolest thing I have ever seen, like at a party. But take a look at this.
In a rave. Oh my god. Oh my god, that's so cool. Although you can totally tell someone's going to throw stuff off that roller coaster into the crowd.
That guy's also being very brave for having his phone out like that as well. But describe to audio listeners what we're seeing here.
Well, it looks like a rather dangerous setup, to be honest with you, but it looks cool all the same.
Dangerous as it may be, though, Dave. But would you get on it and ride it?
Yeah, why not?
Absolutely, you would. Yeah, folks. For those.
I think you should put the DJ in it. That would be better.
Yeah, and just have all the speakers in there. Yeah, essentially, folks, what we're looking at here is we are seeing a roller coaster ride, and of course, where the tracks are going, they are elevated via some steel girder beams and so on. But it is basically situated around a festival stage and all the people around it as well. So basically, you are literally sitting in a roller coaster ride that's going around an entire stage and all of the crowd, and you are elevated above it all. Absolutely fascinating things here, and this is courtesy of D&B Shack on Instagram. And and actually, I think someone here's actually got some context to this as well. Green_wolf10 says here, quote, roller coaster nerd here. The coaster is called Tren Minero, and it is based in Chile at a park called Fantasilandia. It has a thing called the After Parque. It's either, I think that's either After Park or After Parque, where it turns into a mini festival. You're welcome. And then Thomas G. Priest below it says El Mejor País de Chile. So I tell you what, they've got, that's a hell of an idea, and what a brilliant idea. Mini festival at the same time. Dave Collins, instant reactions to that.
Yeah, I think it was cool. It just looks quite dangerous as well. I mean, you ever heard about bolts falling off roller coasters? Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or yes, Piotr, how am I saying that? Piotr running with scissors says here, quote, this is an event for a generation who did not grow up watching Final Destination.
Yeah, that's what I'm expecting. This is like a Final Destination film.
Yes, Dave, your Final Destination fears are kicking in there. But I think that's his. I would also agree with such an assessment. Let me just double check what the podcast document. What am I supposed to go to after that? Yes, the pyro, and the pyro being too hot. So yeah, we're going to go to something quite friendly here, with it being a roller coaster, which you could argue is somewhat safe, potentially, or not. Something that's not very safe is this fascinating story about the pyro at a Swedish House Mafia event. This is courtesy of electronicmusic.official on Instagram. Let me double check if this has... Yes, it does. I was checking if it has copyrighted or containing copyrighted music. So can't play it with the audio. But Dave Collins, describe what you're seeing.
Oh god, this is out of 10.
I don't think so.
Basically, it's all the flamethrowers. I remember Swedish House Mafia having a few flamethrowers at Greenfields, but this is like turned up to 11.
It really is, isn't it?
Yeah.
And yeah, so folks, we are essentially looking at...
I still don't understand how this is like allowed. It's so dangerous when you think about it. All it needs is like some guy with a ciggy, and like, oh my, look at that! Oh my god, it's like,
you see, it is crazy, and of course as well, I think what people are like, that is an immense amount of heat. That's a huge amount of heat.
Yeah.
So, well, actually, to get this, I didn't properly read the caption. You said Creamfields, right? Here's the caption: Swedish House Mafia's 2019 Creamfield's performance.
Oh, it's just the Creamfields. So
Yeah.
they've upgraded it basically.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah, because this would damage all sorts. They said it damaged screens.
Well, listen to this. So Swedish House Mafia's 2019 Creamfield's performance caused an estimated £4 million in damages due to the intense pyrotechnics used during their set. The flames were so powerful that they melted and permanently damaged multiple LED screens on the main stage, requiring a full day of setup before the show and resulting in truckloads of broken equipment after. This extensive damage made their show the most expensive in the festival's history. Despite the destruction, many fans recall it as one of the most memorable and fiery moments in Creamfield's history, with the pyro show amplifying the energy of their legendary track Antidote and leaving a lasting impression on attendees. And this is via Matthew Crow NYT. Dave, are you surprised by the... Well, I just wonder, whoever was doing stage design or what have you, I imagine they were like, we want pyrotechnics. And then they obviously said, classic cliche, how many? And they just said yes.
Yeah,
right, Dave?
Much. Yeah.
Like, more pyrotechnics. And they're like, okay, here's 10. They go, no, more. We need more. More pyrotechnics. And they go, okay, well, here, I mean, just based on the flames that you're seeing there, how many pyrotechnic cannons do you think there is there, just roughly?
Well, you can count the flames, can't you?
Yeah, this is it. So I think there's at least 8 on the right side.
So if you times that by 2,
and then there's 8 on the left side, so that's 16 on the left and right. And then how many?
There's some on the stage. And then there's some behind the stage as well.
Oh, God, yeah, there's some behind the stage as well. And then at the front, it looks like there's 6 or 7 in the middle. So that's 8 plus 8 plus 7.
You know, I remember, like, people, because remember when you go to festivals, people always push to the front, don't they?
Yes,
Can you imagine the people at the front when this goes on? You know what I mean? It's like, I was about to say, it's ace, mate. I lost my hair.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Do you know what? I would have brought like a 6-pack of sausages with a fork, like just lean it out like that. Like, mate, the set was banging. I had like 6 bangers all cooked. And yeah, like you said, essentially, I think we can see like some mini flames behind as well, unless that's a mirror or whatever. But then also there's 4 larger ones at the top of the stage as well. So what is that? 8 plus 8 plus 7 plus potentially 2 behind the deck.
This will all be holograms in the future, mate. This will get banned at some point, and it'll just be holograms. And then we can say, I remember when it was real flames, man. I remember the day.
Yeah. I remember when it was a huge health and safety hazard. I mean, yeah. All I'll say is, imagine being like the contractor installing LED screens and then seeing this. You'd be like, guys.
You just accept it at this point. It's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, like you just know it's just completely boned at that point, right? Yeah.
I don't think it's wild. I always think this is so wild. You've got all this stuff going on, and it's running off a laptop or something on the stage.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And actually, fascinating insight here. As you mentioned, Dave, Leah Sems on Instagram says here, quote, I was up front of house during this and it was hot. You had to turn away because it burned your face. I can't imagine what those poor people on the rail felt. I mean, whew. And then the one below it, Stone.
This is the real Fire Festival.
Yeah, Stone Dylan Worldwide says this is the real Fire Festival. Definitely would agree with that.
It's kind of prideful. Creamfields is my local festival, so competing on the world stage, I love it.
Yeah, I mean, quite remarkable. And Huisheng Tim 98 says here, quote, I'm just going to drop this here. The organizer didn't know what were the capabilities and limitations of their own equipments. If they do, they wouldn't have installed that amount of flamethrowers on the stage.
I agree. They probably went, oh crap,
Yeah, I think when I imagine all the staff, the ones at the back who control all the lights and stuff. I bet even they were surprised. They were like, "Oh shit, that was actually quite a lot."
To be fair, Creamfields has had the history of like things like this. Do you remember the year it flooded? I would love this tale so much. And we went to see the Chemical Brothers, and the tent poles were literally collapsing in the side of the tent. Like, do you not remember this?
I do. Yeah. What was that? 2012 or no? Yeah, 2012 it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, like the huge poles that keep the entire tent up were just literally sinking in the mud, and we're like, "Is this tent going to collapse around us?"
Yeah, and everyone. What I find funny is, and of course, like everyone has a complete disregard for basic safety measures in there. So everyone's just coming in like, "Way!" Like party, and of course, like I think when we were both there, despite like us both being a little bit drunk or whatever, I think like we were, we were both giving the column a bit of a side eye to be like, is that going to be all right? So yeah, some very close shaves there, shall we say, when it comes to Creamfields. But hey, what can I say? We've had, even I'll admit, some great memories of Creamfields, right, Dave? Even though they're like really random and derpy.
Yeah, I've not been in so long now. The production scale on Creamfields has skyrocketed in the past 5 years. It's humongous now.
Oh yeah, and actually, we could probably do this in another podcast episode to have a full blown discussion of it, because I still get marketing email. I'm sure you do too, because obviously we're previous attendees, and some of the stuff that they come out with now is just like what,
mind blowing.
Yeah, they just like build a town now and stuff like that. It's like
Did you know they rebuilt Nation, and that's like a thing now?
Yeah, like even that, it's like what's what's going on?
It's just crazy.
Yeah, it really is something mind blowing, and I'm going to use that term to sledge ourselves into our final bit of from the web, because essentially this is coming from Wooderson Forever on Instagram. Some folks online, you may have seen this because this was from a while ago, but I just thought, you know what, we didn't cover it on the podcast before, so we will cover it now. Dave, I want to get your opinion on this, because this is sort of a sad state of affairs for the music industry. But essentially, the context is that he is on the phone to an A&R manager, I think it is, or an A&R assistant of this record label, and here's the rest.
So we've listened to your music and we really like it, but I'm afraid we don't sign anyone who has under 50,000 followers on TikTok or Instagram.
50,000 followers.
Yeah. Sorry, you haven't reached that yet. You only have 127 followers, so it's gonna be a no for us.
Carrie, you realize we just launched the project this week. Like you said it yourself, the records are great. You're saying you can't sign them because we don't have enough followers on Instagram and TikTok?
Yeah. There's a lot of potential, so keep it going.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thanks, Carrie.
Okay, Wood. You take care.
Yeah.
So we've
Dave Collins, instant reactions to this sad state of affairs.
Self-sign it. Make your own label. Don't need those guys. just do it yourself, man.
Instant judgment from Dave Collins.
Yeah. I can't stand stuff like this, and my response is always just do it yourself.
Yeah.
Release it yourself, sign it yourself. Hell, use Bandcamp if that's what it takes. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Just do it, because the thing is, if they're not showing you respect at this stage, they won't show you respect later on. You know what I mean?
What does that? What does that tell you about what labels are signing? Right, Dave?
I think this whole social media thing is going to collapse at some point in the near future. Anyway, I think it's all become it's no longer about sort of social stuff. It's just one giant algorithm. So when people say how many followers have you got, it doesn't really mean anything. I remember talking to one guy who organised parties in Liverpool, and he was saying the amount of followers you've got on a page is totally irrelevant as to how many people turn up to a gig. It's completely irrelevant.
100%. 100%.
And he said, it really depends on the local community. and whether or not you can get the local support to come out and actually help you promote a night locally, not online, not on Twitter or Facebook, locally, right? And that requires the old school methods, posters, flyers, word of mouth, things like that.
Oh, absolutely. And
Yeah.
you have actually reminded me of without naming any names, there was a promoter that I met a few years ago, and typical of us DJs and people who do stuff in music industry stuff and bits and bobs, like us with radio and whatever. Essentially, he was telling me that he's going to be doing an event soon in East London, and if I'd wanted to come along or whatever, and of course, as just to show my support, I was like, yeah, sure, I'll come along. So I went along by myself, and I just thought I'll go, I'll buy a ticket, I'll pop in, stay there for like an hour or two, get a one or two drinks, and just just be casual about it. And I thought, do you know what? You probably won't even realize I'm there, and I'll pop in and say hello and whatever. Anyway, long story short, I go to the venue and I turn up, and there's only like, I'd probably say there's probably about 9 people in there in like the dance floor area. And essentially, unfortunately, it was dead. And so obviously when I turned up, he was like really thankful. He was like, "Oh, I'm so glad that you're here. It's really nice that you turned up and everything." And, and he immediately addressed the elephant in the room, so to speak, which is to be like, he's like, "I can't believe it." He's like, we're having a really tough night here because there's no one here. And I distinctly remember the next thing he said to me it was something along the lines of, "And I really don't understand because we've got 40,000 likes or follows on Facebook." Dave Collins.
It's all about community. That's what it is, mate. So
What
you
does
can
that-
have
what-
all
I
these
mean,
like,
What
yeah,
does
you can
that
have
mean?
all these likes for your brand and stuff, and that's great. I'm not going to say that's totally useless. It gives you a lot of reach. But as regards to people turning up to your gig, especially if like it's an unknown name on that lineup, it's all about community, right? And so you need to build that community up. You need to build that loyalty up.
I
And
mean,
people help each other out.
Oh,
One
yeah.
gig will help another gig, and it's like a cross-pollination type thing.
I mean, what does that tell you though? Like, because of course, even for him, he was perplexed. He was like, "I just don't understand. Like, we've got loads of followers.
It's
But no
sad.
one turned up."
Everyone aims to be like, everyone tries to promote their event like they're Carl Cox, right? Like they can just put their name on a poster and they'll just sell out like that. Everyone tries to promote every event like that. But the truth is, very few people can promote an event in that way. Very few people can say, "I've got 600,000 followers on Facebook. All I need to do is put my name on a flyer, and then people will just turn up." That probably only counts for 1% of the entire market. Everyone else has to figure out a different way of doing it. And if you don't figure out that way of doing it, building a small community, building followers, starting with small gigs, working with other brands, things like that, you'll never get people to turn up, using what I call the superstar DJ method, right? Because you're not at that level yet. At some point you might be, but you got to use different methods to begin with.
Yeah.
And that's why I said sign it yourself, because like it might be fire, but like get the following first, get the loyalty, and you'll get it quick, man. Like you'll get it quicker than you think, for sure.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And actually, in going back to that original post, honestly, I'm sometimes amazed about what music I uncover, and sometimes it is almost like quite refreshing to come across an artist who hardly has any followers, or like, or maybe they'll have a few, but they're not really like on a massive record label or whatever. And I'm like, dude, like, some of these people are making amazing pieces of music, and I'll just say, and I would also say as well, like you said, Dave, although that's a sad state of affairs for the music industry in general, for record deals, there is constant positive signs of doing it elsewhere, like you said, with Bandcamp as well, because some fantastic places.
the more independent record labels we get, the better, in my opinion. Because I'm sick of the big titans ruling everything. We need more independence in the industry. If anything, it just makes sure that people can still innovate. Because what's happening now is innovation's going down because there's these humongous labels that basically control the sound. So, like, I'm all for things to be a bit more independent, a bit more grassroots. Because that's how interesting things happen, you know? So,
It most certainly does. Yeah, it most certainly does. And it's definitely a case of being avenues for creativity, so to speak.
yeah.
Yeah. And speaking of avenues of creativity, I'm putting you aside for 1 second because I'm going to try and sledge our way into the advert, because another avenue of creativity is Change the Faces Mixcloud Select. I guess.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. So, guys, listen here. And post James, let's hit the music. Changing Faces Mixcloud Select is the top spot for your CF premium content, and it is the #1 place where you can go and help support the team. Mixcloud.com/Changing Faces, all as one word, is the place to go. With a select subscription, you get playback controls enabled, early access to our shows, and some exclusives thrown in there.
Come on, man. You can do this.
Oh, God, honest to God, it's some of these words. And some exclusives thrown in there for good measure. And on top of all of that, it supports us here at Changing Faces. Let's hear it again, folks. That's mixcloud.com/Changing Faces, all as one word, or find out more over on our website, changingfaces.live. For all other updates and posts, be sure to follow. Come on. Be sure to find us over on places like Instagram, Facebook, Blue Sky, X, and of course, YouTube by searching for Changing Faces or our handle at Changing Faces. I think that's easier, folks, because if you type in Changing Faces, I think that 90s duo group always pop up first. We're not as popular as them, essentially. Anyway, don't forget, if you want something mentioning, be it a product, service, release, or whatever in our sponsor break, be sure to email us at hellochangingfaces@gmail.com. And let me also just quickly say, whilst I'm choking to death because I'm so thirsty, Changing Faces Mixcloud.com is excellent at the moment because we have got an absolute plethora of content. Bringing in Dave Collins. Dave, tell everyone what's been the latest over at Changing Faces Mixcloud, because there's tons of stuff in there.
Yeah, I admit I had a bit of a backlog to upload because I forgot to do it for like a month. So that's on me. But I've caught up and uploaded like 30 shows in the past week. So
yeah, folks, like there is an absolute ton of different types of shows and a real nice we're getting a nice blend of different things because of course we've got other partners on the show and other residents and so on. We've got
shout out to Soul Tribe. They're really good, man.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got Soul Tribe Music, who's doing basically D&B and dubstep shows on Changing Faces Live. We've also got Graham Collins, who does a whole plethora of different types of Motown and old school radio shows, and some very unique special edition ones as well, where it goes into different themes. We've also got what is it called? Something Transmissions. I always forget the name.
Mm-hmm.
By DJ Ion, the mysterious character of Changing Faces Live, Dave. And then the other person is we've also got Farha Cast in Brazil. We've got those guys doing some great stuff with some great artists there. And of course, we've got Do It For Music, which is Zurich and Ibiza. So some very excellent pieces of content going on there. God, it's 38 minutes. So, like, I was trying to be quick, but we're already at 38 minutes. Yeah. Jesus wept. Like, we've got to crack on with the news. Dave, we haven't done a jingle for the news in a very long time. Would you like to do something for us?
Have you not made one yet?
No.
Oh my God.
Would you like to sing one?
Welcome to the news. It's the news about dance music. There you go.
Sorry, I didn't even help you out there. I was too busy drinking my water. But Dave and everyone else, because Dave hasn't seen the news I've selected for this. We are about to see and hear some crazy shit again. because it just goes on, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? So, so Dave, let me just start you with the first news story. Have you heard about the techno DJ selling counterfeit aircraft parts?
Sorry, what?
Have you heard about the techno DJ selling counterfeit aircraft parts?
No.
Well, so good, because we're about to get into it, Dave. Yeah, so basically, what in the world is going on here? So, folks, this is credit of Michael Lawson of Resident Advisor. In a world where DJs often have other jobs, careers, hustles, and so on, nothing comes as a surprise to know what else DJs do when not DJing. Unfortunately, for DJ Santa Militia, it would appear to be selling 60,000 counterfeit aircraft parts worldwide. And the Caracas-born artist received a 56-month sentence after forging safety certificates and supplying fake engine components to major airlines in a $44.9 million euro fraud. Dave Collins.
Wow.
And also, he's a techno DJ.
I mean, of course he is.
Of course he is. Yes, folks, what the hell is going on here? So anyway, so let me continue. 38-year-old Jose Alejandro Zamora Irala, aka Santa Militia, forged safety documentation for aircraft engine components used by manufacturers Boeing and Airbus, the BBC reports. Between 2019 and 2023, he falsified PC certificates and attached them to unapproved parts, many destined for CFM56 engines, the most widely used power units in commercial aviation. Operating via shell company AOG Technics, Zamora fabricated staff identities and handled all correspondence himself to appear legitimate. Authorities say the scheme generated roughly 44.9 million euros in fraudulent activity, with around 7.9 million euros in revenue from contracts with airlines, including American Airlines and Ethiopian Airlines. Product listings falsely claimed parts originated from French aerospace supplier Safran. The operation began to unravel in 2023 after TAP Air Portugal asked Safran to test components it had purchased. International aviation authorities grounded affected aircraft while checks were carried out, causing widespread disruption. Emma Luxon of the Serious Fraud Office said, I mean, if Emma Luxon from the Serious Fraud Office is going to say something about you, that can't be good. Anyway, said Zamora's actions, quote, endangered public safety worldwide on an unimaginable scale, describing the case as a significant and brazen fraud, end quote, that threatened confidence in the aviation industry. Zamora, who's previously DJ'd at London venues such as Egg, Bow Bridge, and the Horse and Groom, is serving his sentence in the UK. Dave Collins, how do you unravel that entire story?
That's mad. That's totally bonkers.
I mean, we've all got hustles, right, Dave? Aside from DJing.
Oh yeah, sure. Just, you know, does it say what parts he was selling? I'm just curious. Like, here's a couple of wings, mate. They're completely fine.
So he falsified a safety certificate attached to
engine components,
unapproved parts, many destined for CFM56 engines.
Right.
They are most widely used power units in commercial aviation, supposedly.
Yeah, that's kind of a serious offense. That I know bits and pieces about this because sort of it's a bit of a family industry working in aviation, and yeah, this is big. Like, you can get put away for a long time for doing stuff like this. So.
Yeah, but I mean, I just think, God, you know, you're like, daytime he's forging safety certificates for aircraft parts, and at night he's playing at Egg in London or something.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder if did he fly in on his own private jet, you know, with his own parts.
All I'm saying is I hope he doesn't bring the wrong USB to play. He's like, oh God, safety certificates. Yeah, nothing to see here, folks. I
He
mean,
chose the wrong airlines. American Airlines, man. Like,
American Airlines, like
oof.
TAP Air Portugal and Ethiopian Airlines. I mean, Jesus Christ. But yeah, so basically that went on. So I mean, if all I'll say is if he's being fraudulent about his aircraft parts, is he being fraudulent about his DJ sets as well? I think that'll just tip everyone over at that point, won't it? If he's faking his DJ sets as well, I think everyone's just gonna be done with him.
That's it. You're staying in jail.
You're out of here. Faking aircraft safety certificates. That's bad, bro. Faking DJ sets. That's it. Get him out of here. So thank you again to Michael Lawson. And I tell you what, I'm sure even he was just blown away by such a incredible story. And what can I say? Like DJs, dance music stories, it really does cover many areas, because never did I think we'd be talking about aircraft parts and aviation industry on this podcast, and yet here we are, because it involves a DJ.
Yeah.
Selling counterfeit parts. So anyway, I just really hope he didn't 3D print them or something at home. Can you imagine? There you go. That'll do. Anyway, so if that's not enough, we're going to cover something now, which I think quite a lot of people will have seen and heard over on your socials, but it is to do with steer management and the dealings going on over there. So for those who might not know what's going on here, steer man, God, I gotta drink so much water. Hang on, folks. Choking on their oxygen over here. Steer management steering their artists away. ... Again, credit Michael Lawson again. I hope that guy gets a day off soon from Resident Advisor. Hard techno would seem to be going too hard in this case, as multiple artists from Steer Management were suspended recently following online allegations made against a few of them. And then I say here, read the article out. Yes, James, will do. Several promoters have cancelled schedule. This is quotes from Michael Lawson. Several promoters have cancelled scheduled shows featuring Shlomo, Basewell, Carve, and Adimel. I think that you pronounce that Adimel. After the hard techno artists were accused of sexual misconduct. The allegations were made by an Instagram account reportedly belonging to a former employee of Steer Management, the booking agency that represented all four artists. In the wake of the allegations, a number of promoters have called off sets with those accused. Indian promoter Subvault went first, cancelling Shlomo's performance in Mumbai last Saturday, February 21st. And as I mentioned at the beginning, folks, we are covering things from a while ago, citing the, quote, serious allegations currently circulating publicly, with Marseille Festival Le Bonheur following soon. Dutch powerhouse, Verknipt then said that Shlomo, Basewell, and Carve will no longer perform at its upcoming shows, while Shlomo and Basewell were also removed from the lineup of Germany's Open Beats Festival. Basewell was pulled from gigs at Berlin Club Ost and Sao Paulo's Under Division. And Adimel will no longer play Australian festival Pitch Music and Arts next week. Obviously, this was a while ago. Steer Management confirmed that it had suspended a group of artists on its roster in light of the accusations, but stopped short of naming anyone specifically. Several of the accused have since responded publicly. Shlomo, writing via Instagram stories, dismissed the accusations as a, quote, a campaign of slander and defamation based on false information, end quote, and threatened to take legal action against Brad No Limit. Carve issued a statement titled, quote, I was unfaithful, unquote, in which he admits to infidelity but insists there was, quote, no non-consensual behavior and no criminal wrongdoing, end quote. Adimel posted a lengthy Instagram statement where he confessed to a bout of, quote, sexsomnia, end quote, a rare sleep disorder where individuals engage in sexual acts but distance themselves from, quote, all of the problematic and repetitive behavior that has been consciously committed and denounced in recent days, end quote. Basewell is yet to respond publicly. Resident Advisor has reached out to all 4 artists for comment, which states in brackets. Other artists signed to Steer, including William Luck, oh God, 60 Jew, and X Zodia, Only Numbers, and Nats Vishtik have since publicly left the agency. Quote, we're fortunate enough to be part of a scene surrounded by so many good souls, end quote. Luck's departing statement read, quote, any dangerous and inappropriate behavior must be absolutely condemned in order to protect these people, end quote. The allegations have been met with condemnation from the wider hard techno community. In a since expired post on Instagram stories, Sarah Kin insisted that accusations of this nature, quote, must be taken seriously. Proper investigations allowed to unfold and safety prioritized over reputation, end quote. Aerod, who left Steer before these allegations went public, expressed, quote, support for those who have been affected, end quote, while Rebecca, a longtime advocate for tackling sexual assault and harassment in the scene, demanded the implementation of, quote, zero tolerance policies, end quote, across the board. And then also follows it by saying, quote, abuse of power has no place in our scene, our communities, and our raves, end quote, her post read. 30 years on in my career, and I still see very little change in this area. Dave Collins.
She's right.
I mean, I think the first reaction, so to speak, or first thoughts were, why is it all that? Why, like, is it just like a coincidence that they're all hard techno artists, or like what's going on here? But then again, obviously, I think the end of the article does highlight it's not all of them. You know, it's just these 4. There were allegations surrounding just these 4. You know what I mean? And I think that's one key takeaway here, because I'm sure everyone knows there are some excellent hard techno artists out there, and hard techno is very much, I was going to say in right now. Like, it's very, is it, do you think it's worth saying it's fashionable right now? It's very popular right now, right, Dave?
Depends what you mean by hard techno, but if you mean like, yeah, the sound is popular. Yeah, I think
anything above 130 or anything above 135 is like, I guess you could consider that hard techno, right?
That's like loads of things, but yeah, for me, hard techno is like 150, like, you know.
Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, these artists are hitting those numbers, and of course, it's very popular at the moment. I think we can definitely say that. But I mean, yeah, it's an unfortunate thing to read, but of course, you know, for us on the podcast, it's news, and sometimes it ain't good news. Do you know what I mean? You know, sometimes we have some good stuff and stuff we laugh about, but of course, we have to cover these things as well. Do you know what I mean?
What's that sexomnia thing he's on about? What the hell?
Dimmel posted a lengthy Instagram statement where he confessed to a bout of sexsomnia, a rare sleep disorder where individuals engage in sexual acts.
So they engage in sexual acts while they're asleep?
I don't actually know. It just says a rare sleep disorder where individuals engage in sexual acts. I mean, to me, that just sounds like it's just having sex with people at night. But
yeah, what the hell? That sounds so.
But I could be generalizing there. Don't shoot me for that. You know what I mean? But
it's like sleepwalking. Yeah.
What, sleepwalking? But you're humping something at the same time or something? I don't know.
I guess so.
Yeah. That's just us being general about it. I would say we could go into this entire statement on Steer management, but we are kind of short of time, so I think I'm going to move on. But of course, for those who want to read the statements, be sure to look up Steer management on Instagram, where you'll be able to see that statement. But I'm sure you can imagine what Steer management say about these accusations. Because meanwhile, whilst that's going on, if you remember Dave, because you were actually part of this episode, but we're going to go into some nerdy news now, and I'm sure all you DJs and producers, especially DJs, are going to be reveling in this news, going to be like, oh god, yeah, firmware updates, Alpha Theta, Dave.
Oh
Nee,
god. I was interested
nee,
then.
Dave,
And then I was like, oh
nee.
no, not this. This is
No,
like
yeah.
kind of worse. This is.
Well, essentially, I mean, this is kind of old. You know, it's from a while. Actually, no, is it that? Isn't no? Okay, it's not. It's not. I mean, the other article was from February, like late Feb. This is from mid-March. So it's not that old. It's a bit more recent. But folks, what on earth are we banging on about? So AT, aka Alpha Theta, shares guide to fix playlist issues from firmware update. And this just comes credit of April Claire Welsh of DJ Mag. Remember a while back seeing the technical issues arising from the CDJ 3000 firmware update? While only recently, as of March 19th, have Alpha Theta come out with an important notice following their own investigation into the matter, whilst also pushing ahead with releasing new products. Let me go into the article. Disagree. Thanks very much. Alpha Theta has released a, quote, important notice, end quote, to customers using the company's record box software with USB devices. The statement flags a compatibility issue between newer and older Pioneer DJ Alpha Theta hardware, pointing out that record box exports tracks to USB via two different library formats. One library, previously the Device Library Plus, and Device Library. I swear, I think if you're not a DJ, this is probably going to sound so confusing, but I mean, shed a tear for us DJs that have to try and fucking understand all of this shit, right, Dave? Anyway, so get this. The main problem is newer products like the, brace yourself here, folks, the CDJ 3000X, the Opus Quad, the Omnis Duo, and XDJ AZ only read the newer library format, one library, while older gear, such as the CDJ 3000, I can't even believe they're saying that's old. Like, anyway, and the XDJ XZ only read USB devices exported in the original device.
Why could the
library
newer products not read the old format?
Oh, don't you start. But
no,
anyway,
I'm just saying, like, why is that not a thing?
Well, we're going to get into that in a second. Hang on. This means playlists exported in device library format may show up on the CDJ 3000, but not on the CDJ 3000X. However, it's an easy fix. Just make sure. No, Dave. Listen, it's an easy fix. They say. Just make sure you update your record box to version 7.2.11 or later before re-exporting. Alpha Theta has provided a guide in case you need to manually convert playlists. It also pointed out that your music files and playlists will never be deleted from the USB when connecting to a player. The USB compatibility issue comes after Alpha Theta was forced to suspend its latest CDJ 3000 firmware update. Version 3.30, after a number of DJs reported nightmare issues with missing playlists and so on and so on. And we did cover that extensively in one of the previous episodes. But essentially, older tracks and playlists weren't showing up on their USBs. The Pioneer DJ parent company recommended users re-download firmware version 3.20, according to a statement published on its website. Meanwhile, Alpha Theta recently released its new 3-channel mixer, the DJM V5, informed by the warm, quote, high-resolution sound of the brand's flagship 6-channel mixer, the DJM V10. The DJM V5 follows Alpha Theta's next-gen effector, the Remix Ignite, also released in January. The Japan-based tech giant, which is Pioneer's DJ parent company, also recently added Apple Music integration to its CDJ 3000X media player. That was a lot to get through and a lot of nerdy stuff there. But Dave, how do you unravel all of this nightmare issues with missing playlists?
Well, they cocked that up, didn't they? That's all I'm going to say. Right. The one thing, right, the fix, fine. What blows my mind is how much of a disconnect the engineering team has with how DJs work. Picture this. You're a touring DJ. You go to a club and they've got two CDJ 3000s.
Mm-hmm.
The next night, you go to a club and they've got 2 3000 X's.
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean you have to have different USB sticks for the 3000 X's and the 3000s?
That's almost like that is almost like a trick question, Dave. So I mean, based off, let me read this again because I think the answer's in here somewhere. The main problem is newer products like the CDJ3000X, Opus Quad, Omnis Duo, and XDJAZ only read the newer library format, one library.
That's so dumb. Like, why?
While older gear such as the 3000 and the XDJXZ only read USB devices exported in the original device library format.
My God, it's just so amateurish. It should be backwards compatible because you can't. Well, I'm leaving it there. I'm working on more. Yeah, totally. Like their Pioneer's engineering department need to say, right, we just need to make sure this fits in with the DJ lifestyle. Because how can you guarantee every deck you walk up to is going to be a 3000X? You can't.
No, you can't.
Hell, I've still seen 1000s out in the wild. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, there's
so
a whole
have I.
variety of stuff.
I actually played somewhere last year that had the 1000s, for Christ's sake. Do you know what I mean?
God. The fact that it's the same, the 3000 and the 3000X as well, just to make it even more confusing.
Yeah.
So you ask a promoter, what CDs have we got? And he goes, oh, it's a 3000s, mate. And you go, yeah, but is it 3000s or 3000X? It's like, what? You know what I mean? It's just so dumb. At least call it the 4000. You know what I mean? So
yeah. I just can't believe they're labeling the XZ and the 3000s as old. I was like, my God, where have I been? Like that's
I still think the 2000s in you. Do you know what I mean? 2000s.
Yeah.
Yeah, in my opinion.
Yeah, without naming the places of these venues, but I swear last year I turned up to somewhere to play and they had 2 1000s and I was like, oh God.
To be fair, I love those decks and my dream decks.
Yeah, I was like, oh damn.
What did you think of them? Did you get to use them?
Oh yeah, I had to play on them, so I had to play on them for 5 hours. I had to get used to it because I wasn't.
What do you think of it?
I mean, it worked. So
no waveform, BPM just does what it wants. You know.
Yeah, in fact, actually, I didn't have the waveform. I had the the blocks.
Yeah, little dots. Yeah.
They were like they're like little bars.
Yeah.
Like eight of them in a row, and that's all you can go off. I was like, oh, I hope this works, and it did work actually. And believe it or not, I had a busted up mixer and I had half of the caps. Can you believe that?
Half of the caps. Oh, the
caps at the end. Yeah, because obviously with a busted old mixer, usually like all the caps are missing, aren't they? So you just got these tiny little metal pins. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, but I was actually amazed to see that like we had at least half of them on there, but yeah, so basically, God, how can we actually repeat this this guidance for DJs?
Well, the solution's easy. Just upgrade.
Make sense of it.
Just upgrade your record box. Simple.
Wait, actually, no. I know the solution, guys. Just go and buy a CDJ 3000X.
Yeah. No, the real solution, if you don't want to be caught with your pants down, is to buy another USB stick and export it in the old format. And have a USB stick in the new format.
Yeah.
Because I can guarantee you most venues won't have the 3000Xs right now. They'll still be using the older ones.
God, yeah. I mean...
Oh, it's just a mess.
Oh, maybe, yeah. I mean...
This is what I was saying earlier. If you're like headlining clubs like Amnesia or whatever, you'll never have this problem. But if you're like not headlining, this is going to be an utter nightmare for most DJs to try and navigate around. You know what I mean?
I mean, you shouldn't, should you? Do you know what I mean? And actually, just whilst we're on this, I actually had...
I've seen DJs that they couldn't afford to get all their decks at once. So they'd buy it in parts, like their setup. So I remember DJing on setups where you had like a CDJ like 2000, for example, and then they had a CDJ 400 next to it. And that was their decks. Because they bought them one at a time. They didn't buy them all at once. They bought them as they could afford it. So sometimes you DJ on some really weird setups. It's like you've got a brand new deck here. You've got a piece of crap deck there. You've got a mixer that sort of like half works, maybe. You know what I mean? It's like...
But again, that also sort of shows that, well, despite some gear being older, it's still compatible. It'll still work.
Still works. Still plays
Bizarre
the
setup,
record. You know what I mean?
yes, but
Yeah, still
absolutely.
works.
And actually,
yeah.
I'm gonna bring you to the attention of on X. This is Motorstep saying here, and he also had a bit of a complaint about this. So you're not the only one, Dave. But Motorstep on X says here, quote, this new CDJ update is the dumbest fucking thing on earth. Warning DJ friends. If you haven't updated to latest record box, then your USBs will show up blank on the new CDJs and updated 3000s. Why are we still putting up with this BS? Someone needs to make a better standard. And
They do. They do need to make a better standard, mate.
Well,
the thing that drives me nuts is you never used to have any of this crap. When USB sockets first, and Pioneer actually did this, the CDJ 400s were one of the first Pioneer decks to have a USB socket on, if not the first. Do you know what you had to do to get the USB stick to work with one of them?
Did you have to get a new another USB that have older stuff on it?
You didn't have to export and format in record. You just got a USB stick. You threw an MP3 on it and you whacked it in. That was it. There was no messing about with exporting a record box. Record box didn't even exist. You just got a USB stick from the shop. You put your music on it and you put it in the deck, and it went, "Oh yeah, okay, sound." Like, simple,
Yeah. That's a beautiful way of putting it. You
didn't have like
USB was like, okay, sound.
It didn't have auto beat matching or any other crazy stuff these decks have got now, but at least it did what a deck's supposed to do, which is play the goddamn music. It's like, come on. Yeah, my first decks had USB sockets. I had some Denons with little USB sockets on them, and I remember when I went to go play at the club, they had CDJ 400s, but it didn't matter because a USB stick was just a USB stick. Formatted a FAT32, brilliant. Use them where you want.
And do you know what? And speaking of different types of products here, but Motorstep also comes in with a comment on this thread as well that basically says here, quote, "I'm hearing stories from so many people in regards to when we covered this, we covered What's So Not, the Australian artist who highlighted this as the issue, but he says in response to that, he says, quote, from Motorstep, why we're still paying 20k for a set of glorified MP3 players that barely function, have terrible software, and constantly have issues is beyond me."
It's the software they need to sort out, mate. It's just they just need to get their head together and get the software sorted.
At Fizo Dubs says here, quote, "Yep, got Major League, fuck that Wicked Oaks, free balled that whole set, lol." And then Motorstep comes in here saying, quote, "Was it 3000s? Did nothing load at all?" And he responded saying 3000s, and I got a file listing, but no record box shit. So I could mix, just didn't have playlists to draw on, and I wasn't as fast as I'd prefer because I had to actually beat match, lol.
Again, like, playlists, M3Us, don't be started, mate. This whole thing is an example on like how to overcomplicate something. Like, just if by all means, if you want to have all these crazy new features, this is great, but it should always fall back to the basics. Can I play a record? I don't want waveforms or anything like that. I just want to play the goddamn record. Like, it should always default back to the basics, because stuff like this happens. It's silly.
Yeah,
and you can imagine how frustrating it is, right? Imagine you lose your USB stick or something, or it gets damaged, and you need to go to the shop and buy one quickly. But then you need to export it in some sort of crazy record box thing. Yeah. The last time I exported from record box, it took forever.
Yes.
It's like, God damn it! I just want to transfer 30 tracks on this stick and go. Like, come on.
Yeah, this is this is something that is a bit of an issue, and it's something that frustrates me as well when it comes to.
Does it still take ages?
Yeah, some of them do, but I've got one in particular, USB. If I plug it in, that takes a period of time. However, it's a bit quicker now because it's got most of my music on there. But when it's brand new, oh my god, it takes a while. Like, you can't do it quick. But hey, I mean, there's a fix for it, Dave. So I guess that counts as good news.
I mean,
It's good news, Dave. But
it's
we're going
good
to
news.
move on to some other bit of good news, Dave, because we're going to go over to Manchester now, in your area.
Manchester. Yeah.
Manchester, once again. And again, folks, this is old news, but we haven't covered it on the podcast. And I think it is worthy of covering. Dave Collins, Sankey's Manchester reopened late last, or is reopened this year. This is credit of Marissa, is that Chetin? Yeah, Marissa Chetin of DJ Mag. Whilst this is old news now, we actually didn't cover this, so we wanted to include it here to do a little recap of this wonderful news. And as mentioned, Marissa Chetin writes, quote, Manchester clubbing institution Sankey's will return after nearly a decade. A decade, Dave. A decade. Nearly a decade with a new location next year, aka this year. After teasing a comeback this past summer, the new Sankey's will open at a to be revealed 500 capacity venue in Manchester City Centre at the end of January 2026. More on that later. The space will have a stripped back basement style feel with a chill out second room, according to the press release, and be fitted with Sankey's signature LED matrix grid installation.
Yeah, that was great. That
there will be no VIP or phones allowed on the dance floor. Everyone is a VIP, end quote. From creative director David Vincent, who said in a press release, quote, people need to stop taking pictures and start dancing to the beat, end quote.
I've got something to say about that, but keep going. Yeah.
Okay. Aside from the opening weekend festivities on the 30th and 31st of January, Sankey's will open on Saturdays. Sankey Saturdays will start from 7th of February, and the Tribal Sessions residency will return for the new era on a monthly basis. Lineup and booking details are to come, though Sankey's promises programming in line with its legacy of hosting, quote unquote, the next generation of electronic music stars. Previous performers include the Chemical Brothers, Daft Punk, Jamie Jones, the Martinez Brothers, Solomon. Who else, Dave? You know, you saw them.
Above and Beyond.
Yep, and many more. Sankey's Manchester closed its Beehive Mill site in 2017 after the venue was sold to property developers. Sankey's Ibiza and Essex venues also closed in 2018 and 2017, respectively. The brand has continued as a promoter, often in London, since. In June, the Sankey's team hinted at a new iteration in Manchester with a vague Instagram post captioned, hello, Manchester, ... It's been a while. And some fantastic news coming on here. And actually, to add on to that, and before we get to your comment, Dave, I'll just quickly have this playing in the background. Hold it. I've just paused it here. Hang on, let me refresh the page. Hang on. Okay. So whilst we quickly discuss this, let me just quickly get rid of this, and we'll have this playing in the background because there is copyrighted music in it. Dave Collins, what did you want to say?
Well, let's look at this first, actually. Is this the concept?
Yep. This is a quick sneak preview. I immediately think Sankey's, but I also kind of think of like Tron, you know? It's so like Tron-like, you know?
So this is going way back, but I remember, was Sankey's the first like club you went to?
No. I think it was the first major one I went to in Manchester.
Right. Because I remember we got a train from Chester
to
go to like some random house night in Sankey's sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I really did like that venue. It was awesome. And they had, what they've done with the roof there is very similar to how it used to be, from what I recall. And they used to have a big LED wall with like these big domes on it as well. I've got some videos and pictures of the old one somewhere. And they had such a weird setup. It's the only place I've been to where they had like a cinema outside, which is just great. It was awesome.
Yes. And you've mentioned that in previous episodes about the creativity that went into that chill out area, right, Dave?
Yeah, I just remember getting a drink outside, and they had like deck chairs and a fake beach, and then there's like 3 stoners watching Star Wars. And I was like, brilliant! This is sick.
Yeah, it's quirky stuff like that in clubs that we love because it's so fun, and we have covered that quite a bit in some places.
It is sad that that was from a different time, right? This was back when the iPhone had just launched, like I'm talking about. But like the scene's changed so much now. Them having to ban phones to try and bring that back, that old vibe, is a bit
Mm.
sad, right? But the reason I sort of said I got something to say is like I was on YouTube today and Armin put up a video up in the past couple of days of this new State of Trance gig thing.
Yeah.
And it looks technically phenomenal. But there's so many people in this like arena, and none of them are like, some of them are dancing. And I couldn't even blame the music because he really does like punch it as much as he could. And I'm like, no one's dancing. Everyone's just on their phone. Everyone's just sort of shuffling.
Oh.
And then I went back because I've got it bookmarked on my profile. I went back and looked at the video for Ace Hot 400.
Ah.
And they're tearing that club apart. It's brilliant. Everyone's just going wild. You know what I mean? I'm like, how do we go from that to this? Do people just not dance anymore? Like, is it more of a cultural thing? Do you know what I mean?
Well,
There is. I wish I could put both side by side, mate, because it's so staggering. And you're like, wow.
yeah.
People just changed. I don't get it.
Well, there are those that do say that the idea of the no phones policy is making a positive change on the dance floor because it doesn't force people, but it strongly encourages people to get off the phone, and people do state that it's having a positive effect on the dance floor because
Yeah.
I know Solid Grooves in Ibiza at DC10 last year, I think it was. Michael Beebe basically put that in as a no phones policy there. And a lot of people were speaking about how good the parties were. And I think it was suggested essentially that it was because of the no phones policy. But from what you've seen from those these early iterations of the club, I mean, obviously, you know, we're talking in March now, so obviously it has already opened up. But I'm just trying to grab a hold of some excellent content here, if you like, and yeah, we've got some. Let me.
This looks good. I like the style of lights. It's got that cool vibe to it. I like the fact it's 500 people as well. It's not so big that it's like hard to fill, but it's small enough to have a vibe. Yeah, I think it works.
I think it works really well as well. I 100% agree, and it's almost like and this is a courtesy of Sankey's official with the caption saying, "quote a recap of our 6th night back in Manchester. The energy was on point from start to finish. What a night!" I would actually agree and say, you know, when it comes to like our discussions of like to make the perfect club in the UK, I would say this pretty much ticks all of it, right? Because limited
It's
space.
nostalgic for me. Yeah. The thing about clubs, which is really difficult in my opinion, is it needs to be big, but it not so big that it loses the atmosphere of being a club.
Bingo.
I watched a video again today, you know, YouTube algorithm. And it was David Guetta, and he was giving out like DJ tips, and he said something that was really sort of prominent. And he said, when you play a festival, you have to play really high energy music because the crowd is huge. Do you know what I mean? And that usually means that you tend to veer towards like commercial EDM, right? Because that's got a lot of EDM's got a lot of high energy built into it. Or like techno, right? This is the big thing now. But in a club, you don't have to slam out as much energy. You've got time to create a playlist and get a bit experimental and a little bit weird because you're only playing to a small room. So you don't have to, if you're playing to like 50,000 people, I don't know, a crap ton of people, you can't play a weird, interesting, experimental set because the energy will just get, the people at the back will get bored. They're like, I can't even hear it, mate. What's going on?
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah.
But in a small club, a club that not like so small, but like a medium-sized club like this, you can craft those weird sets. And I've even said it before, some of the best sets I've ever been to is room 2 in a club because the main room's got other stuff going on, but the room 2 is like
Yeah.
a shoebox. And the shoebox room tends to have some weird experimental stuff going on. Because
Yes.
although it's small and experimental, the room's so small that there's enough energy there to keep it vibing. But if the room was like 4 times the size, that set wouldn't work anymore. And I sort of understood what he was on about. I was like, yeah, I get it. Because how many times have you seen a DJ in a club? And how many times have you seen the same DJ at a festival? And they've played completely different sets.
Bingo. And I think you're bang on the money there, aren't you? And you're absolutely right, because of course, yeah, if you have the luxury of being in a club where there are multiple rooms, yeah, I completely agree. We've often found that if we go to these nights, we often do end up being either in room 2 or 3, just because it's smaller.
Like as DJs, we find it interesting, don't we? It's like, oh yeah, we've heard all the bangers before, but what interests us as like music dweebs is when the DJs do something that's a bit like weird and off key, and you go, oh shit, that's really cool, you know?
Yeah,
like
100%, and you're absolutely right, and it's yeah, I don't know, it's funny that I don't know why I just didn't think about that before, but yeah, you know, that's that's definitely something to take away from what we've seen, early signs of the Sankey's party. But yeah, that is sort of the end of the good news, I'll say. And speaking of big venues and big concerts and so on, we're gonna go to the sort of final bit of news, which we are incredibly late for, but whatever. Because we're gonna move on to the recent exposure of douchebags of Live Nation. Because, well, I mean, could you say that's a bit harsh, James? But I mean, let's be honest. I think you'll have come to the same conclusion when you see this as well. But just in case for those not knowing what the hell's going on, this comes courtesy of Off Record Sounds on Instagram, and I've got another post on this courtesy of Sound FYND. Leaked Slack message. Actually, well, I've titled this "Live Nation Douchebags Confirmed." And by the way, if you're wondering why I'm saying douchebag like that, it's off the other guys. If you know that reference, you know the reference. Oh. One of the cops just goes to whatever his name, Mark Wahlberg. He's like, there's no judgment here. He goes, douchebag. He's like, that's judgment, Jimmy. So I can't say douchebag without sounding like him, basically. Anyway, leaked Slack messages show 2 employees at Live Nation joking about charging excessive fees for additional services, ticketing options, and so on in a recent exposure of gouging fans. Dave, it's not good. That's all I'm going to say. But let's just jump into the first one. And this was obviously, like I said, come off Record Sounds. So they say in the caption on Instagram here, quote, pretty insane leak right here. This comes just a bit after the Department of Justice reached a settlement in their antitrust case with Live Nation / Ticketmaster. This is just not a good look at all for a company that I think a lot of us music fans and concert goers have been at odds with for quite a while at this point. Some way or another, at least everyone who's gone to many music festivals has their own story with Live Nation or Ticketmaster. The company has come out to say that these quotes do not represent what the company stands for, but still, to see that comments about price gouging and taking advantage of fans being made so casually is still quite disturbing. The main focus I really want to give to this recent news related to the concessions that Live Nation and Ticketmaster will be undergoing in this settlement, though, with them selling off 13 of their amphitheaters across the United States, capping fees at amphitheaters at 15% and agreeing to pay as much as $280 million in damages to the 40 states participating in the lawsuit. Surely it was not the widespread win most fans and folks keeping up with this case may have wanted, but still absolutely a step in the right direction. What are your guys' thoughts on this? The Live Nation directors' chat. the settlement of this case, if you've been keeping up, and the current state of live music and price gouging related to it. Let me know below. Love you all. So these texts were leaked from 2022 Slack chats. And for anyone who doesn't know what Slack is, Dave, how do you quickly describe Slack?
It's a bit like Teams.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much
Discord.
rounded up. Yeah. So this person says, robbing them blind, baby. That's how we do it. Additional info. Those texts come from a series of 2022 Slack chats between Ben Baker and Jeff Weinhold, two regional directors of ticketing for Live Nation venues. These chats were focused on raising ancillary fees like parking and lawn chair rentals at the expense of the ticket buyer. Lawn chair rentals? What?
Yeah.
Oh, like at the back, I'm assuming. I don't know. With additional boasting about
at some
charging.
festivals, people sit down.
Oh, of course. Yeah. I get it now. Yeah. Okay. I misjudged that. Anyway, with additional boasting about charging, quote, $50 to park in the grass and $60 for closer grass. Earlier this week, Live Nation reached a tentative settlement with the U.S. Department of Justice in their antitrust case, and we've gone through that bit. So yeah, that's and then of course there's this text as well. These people are so stupid. I almost feel bad for taking advantage of them. Yeah,
you should.
Not a good look, dudes. So I'm going to remove this one, and I'm going to show the next bit about this, because I've got, as I said, this second one comes courtesy of Sound FYND, or Sound Find, maybe that's pronounced on Instagram. Live Nation is an embarrassment. Recently released Slack messages show executives joking about gouging fans with fees that Live Nation was robbing them blind, baby. Yeah, not good. So as mentioned, 2022 Slack messages being exposed. So they were exposed on Wednesday, a while ago, as evidence in the government's case against a corporation which is accused of having illegally maintained a monopoly in the live entertainment industry. The exposed messages, simply put, are damning. Ben Baker said, "These people are so stupid." And this is Live Nation executive referring to charging customers high prices for a Kid Rock show in Florida. Baker is now the head of ticketing for the Live Nation unit responsible for its 150 amphitheaters, and was expected to testify this week at a federal antitrust trial over claims that the company illegally monopolized the live events industry. His testimony was postponed after the U.S. Department of Justice reached a settlement Monday with Live Nation. That goes into the same thing we've just said. There's this as well. So a few months later, Baker shared a screenshot of a spreadsheet showing how Premier Parking gross revenue had jumped from $470,000 in 2018 to about $666,000 in 2021. He commented, "Robbing them blind, baby. That's how we do." Weinhold replied, "Lol." And that was via Rolling Stone 2025. Then he says, Baker replied, I almost feel bad taking advantage of them." In another exchange, Baker shared a screenshot of Premier Parking costs, further stating, "Robbing them blind, baby. That's how we do." Later in the exchange, Baker said, "I gouged them on ancil prices to make up for it," referring to extra ancillary fees on more standard tickets. Man, that's some, and that was via Hollywood Reporter 2025. And then, of course, just to balance things out a little bit, in a statement, Live Nation said the exchange, quote, "absolutely doesn't reflect our values or how we operate because this was a private Slack message. Leadership learned of this when the public did and will be looking into the matter promptly. Our business only works when fans have great experiences, which is why we've capped amphitheater venue fees at 15% and have invested $1 billion in the last 18 months into US venues and fan amenities." Dave Collins, how do you unpack all that crazy Slack messages? Dave Collins.
No price reductions then? Nothing like that?
I mean,
seems like a kind of a lame response to me, to be honest with you.
well, going back to the very beginning of this, do you think they're douchebags or do you think not?
Yeah, I think they're douchebags. I don't like how
Like,
they've got a monopoly on the market, personally. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I haven't had a full run in with Ticketmaster, but I've only ever heard issues with them, to be
Yeah.
honest. Like, I know people have
Well, don't they own the reseller sites as well? So, like, that's what I heard. So Ticketmaster sell the tickets to
yeah.
scalpers, and then the scalpers resell them on like ticket reselling websites, which Ticketmaster also owns. So it's like
I'm not sure about that, do they? That's
I
mad.
don't know, but like it's just stuff like that. I'm like, dude, what the hell?
I just know that, yeah, often Ticketmaster has been a contentious topic amongst party goers, concert goers, and so on. And it is often down to the well, I mean, as you've seen here, ancillary ticket fees. So, like, basically, add-ons, basically, to your experience. Like, if you want a lawn chair at a concert or a festival, you bet your ass you're paying for it. And as they've said, if you want closer grass parking, you bet your ass you're paying for it. Right, Dave?
I mean, I guess so.
Yep, apparently so. But yeah, essentially gatekeeping, monopolizing, it's none of it is a good look. And of course, I think the key takeaway here is that it was generally understood, especially if you like look up Ticketmaster on either Instagram or on X or Facebook or whatever, it's you will see like because like what I'm thinking of now is I'm not trying to like shit on them with my own opinion. All I will say is that if you look up Ticketmaster, for example, especially here in the UK, X, any social media, you will see a lot of people complaining about them, and it's often people complaining about how expensive just things are, like be it a
Oh
ticket,
yeah,
certain
mental.
seat, like it's absolutely widespread, so to speak.
Do-
But of course, if people already had these opinions of Ticketmaster and Live Nation beforehand, these Slack messages do not help. Is that right, Dave Collins?
No, and the official response from leadership is basically nothing. Um, we've capped amphitheatre venue tickets at 15%, but they just mentioned that they make all their money on additional fees, right? They literally said that we make our
Mhm.
additional money on like lawn chairs and close parking. They didn't mention that, and they said they've invested 1 billion in the past 18 months. Well, how?
Mhm.
I don't know. It's just scummy.
Yeah, and I'm actually seeing here. There's yeah, there's quite a few comments in relation to this. Um, yeah, Brian Wendorf on Instagram says here, quote, the best thing would be for artists to refuse to perform at Live Nation venues or venues that use Ticketmaster, but that won't happen.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the situation is in the US, but over here, there isn't many venues that are like built by or owned by Ticketmaster. But I feel like the US is a bit different in that regard, from what I understand.
Oh, believe me, yeah, Ticketmaster.
Yeah,
I've got quite a presence here as well.
they do, but it's more like we gigs over in the UK at least is like we use buildings that already exist, right? So
Right.
you get a whole variety of different. Like a good example is the Dome in Liverpool. That's recently opened, and that's been a
Oh
variety
yeah.
of things over the years. And it's almost like these venues change hands every couple of years to a different company. Whereas in America, I'd probably expect they build a venue from scratch.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? So it's just a bit different. That's all.
Yeah, and especially in the approach, and actually, yeah, the credit also here, get a grip media on Instagram says here, Soundfind or Sound FYND with this investigative reporting. This is incredible. Not DJK says here, quote, or quoting their statement, doesn't reflect our values or how we operate. Bullshit. um Yeah. So Beyond Sonny also chimes in here, says, quote, "This is so disgusting, but appreciate y'all reporting what we need at sound find or sound FYND." Yeah. And a lot of people are commenting about the white glasses from this gentleman. Apparently, it's the white glasses for a lot of people.
What's his glasses got to do with anything?
I don't know, but people are sort of saying it's the white glasses. Yeah, and Scott made it. Comes in here with a extremely important comment here saying, "Bro got a big ass forehead." I mean, I can't complain. I mean, mine's pretty big as well, mate. To be honest with you,
we all get big foreheads, yeah.
Yeah, we've all got big foreheads here. Yeah, so. Yeah, quite. Yeah, I think that's the perfect expression of Jay-Z here. Yeah. So, and even here, Jack3 MCN is saying here, quote, "Been waiting on a refund from Ticketmaster for 2 months."
Yeah,
that's also
just
not
scummy company, man. Yeah,
it's
I got no sympathy for Ticketmaster, dude. Like, zero.
No, and neither do I. Something we may have sympathy for, and I'm actually amazed I've actually managed to like squeeze all of this all in. But we're gonna go over to our topic of discussion. I mean, that was half of it anyway. Just to report on the douchebags of Live Nation and Ticketmaster and what was reported. However, we're finally going to get over to talk about I don't want to say it's recent phenomena, but like it's a phenomena which this gentleman has brought the hot take to the fore. Brand Strat on Instagram here. Brand Strat discusses in what is a viral video of the phenomena of soft clubbing and coffee raves. And again, this comes credit directly from Brand Strat. I've written here for audio listeners, a mere other way of having fun or something far more sinister. In the viral clip, Hugh Brandstrat discusses what has become more and more popular in recent months, which is coffee raves, aka soft clubbing. The sensation has started in cities such as London and New York and has begun to spread into popularity. Hugh Brandstrat mentions, however, that this could be an example of how frozen our culture is, or, as Mark Fisher wrote, the slow cancellation of our culture, or an everlasting present. And I'm going to play it, and I'm going to have the volume on, and in that time, I'm going to run to the toilet. So, Dave, you need to keep everyone entertained. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. Wait, you need to talk too?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, wait. Let's both go at the same time, and we'll play it, and we'll quickly run back for everyone. So
we'll have to watch it again then.
No, we'll do it. Don't worry. I think this is like a minute long. Can you do it in a minute?
All right. Everyone's going to have to just deal with no one for a bit.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go.
Clubbing in coffee shop raves, I relate capitalist style. Today I want to talk about soft clubbing and the cultural ice age. I saw a particularly depressing cultural artifact earlier this week, TikTok's Songs of the Summer. Lo and behold, Hold My Hand is #1. I think it's very telling that a song best known for accompanying content slop is all we have for our monocultural moment this summer. The cultural theorist Mark Fisher described this sentiment at length in what he termed the slow cancellation of the future. As late capitalism shuts down our cultural and political imagination, we're effectively consigned to an everlasting present in which our futures are just endless remixes and recycles of old cultural forms, hence the pervasiveness of nostalgia. But this feels like something worse. It's as if there isn't even the energy anymore to resurrect old cultural forms. The ice is starting to freeze over. And I see a real depressing correlate here in the phenomenon of soft clubbing. Generally, I try not to be too judgmental of people having fun, but I do detect something quite sinister in this. Club culture at its best is subversive. It's anti-efficiency. It's where misfits gather in liminal spaces to embrace freedom, abandon, and the possibility of becoming both wholly oneself or someone else. Soft clubbing feels like the exact opposite. It's a sun-drenched performance of self-optimization. Privacy is replaced by hypervisibility of bodies, of consumption, of social capital. It just becomes yet another opportunity to brand oneself. And that original premise of dreaming what life might be is reduced into yet another simulation of how things are and will always be. This is made all the more depressing when gentrification is leading to the mass closure of spaces that actually enabled alternate ways of thinking and living. And therein lies the real danger of the cultural ice age. Not just that things feel boring, but that they feel inevitable. I think we need to ask ourselves, right now, does culture need yet another soft iteration? Or does it need risks, strangeness, people willing to break the loop rather than reinforcing it, reminding us that something different is actually possible? This post brought to you by Late Chronotype Gang. Together we can resist morning propaganda. Soft clubbing and coffee.
Okay, I think we did very well because I guess whoever's in the comments or whatever, like, just let us know if we actually made it back in time before it started looping again. But it's quite a lengthy video. But me and Dave are both gonna have to say sorry now because obviously we both ran to the toilet and obviously did not hear anything that he said. We've got a brief understanding. But Dave, are we ready to?
Let's watch it again. Yeah,
let's watch it again because we don't know. So yeah, this is you, Brand Strat.
Coffee shop raves are a late capitalist psyop. Today I want to talk about soft clubbing and the cultural ice age. I saw a particularly depressing cultural artifact earlier this week, TikTok's Songs of the Summer. Lo and behold, Hold My Hand is #1. I think it's very telling that a song best known for accompanying content slop is all we have for our monocultural moment this summer. The cultural theorist Mark Fisher described the sentiment at length in what he termed the slow cancellation of the future. As late capitalism shuts down our cultural and political imagination, we're effectively consigned to an everlasting present in which our futures are just endless remixes and recycles of old cultural forms, hence the pervasiveness of nostalgia. But this feels like something worse. It's as if there isn't even the energy anymore to resurrect old cultural forms. The ice is starting to freeze over. And I see a real depressing correlate here in the phenomenon of soft clubbing. Generally, I try not to be too judgmental of people having fun, but I do detect something quite sinister in this. Club culture at its best is subversive. It's anti-efficiency. It's where misfits gather in liminal spaces to embrace freedom, abandon, and the possibility of becoming both wholly oneself or someone else. Mm-hmm. Soft clubbing feels like the exact opposite. It's a sun-drenched performance of self-optimization. Privacy is replaced by hypervisibility of bodies, of consumption, of social capital. It just becomes yet another opportunity to brand oneself. And that original premise of dreaming what life might be is reduced into yet another simulation of how things are and will always be. This is made all the more depressing when gentrification is leading to the mass closure of spaces that actually enabled alternate ways of thinking and living. And therein lies the real danger of the cultural ice age. Not just that things feel boring, but that they feel inevitable. I think we need to ask ourselves, right now, does culture need yet another soft iteration? Or does it need risks, strangeness, people willing to break the loop rather than reinforcing it, reminding us that something different is actually possible? This post brought...
The last bit he just talks about this sponsored bit here. So obviously everyone's seen and heard that the first time around, so I won't go into that now. But before we start, can I just quickly say, oh my God, I feel so much better after that. Not after the video, I mean. Yeah. Like, I swear to God, I was holding that in for like 25 bloody minutes. Like, oh God.
I think I know what he means. He goes on a bit of a ramble, but I think I know what he's saying, to be honest with you.
Sorry, I need to refocus here, but yeah.
He needs to be a bit more like, what's the point, mate? Because he goes on a bit of a capitalism bad, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, okay, cool. So what's your point? Come on.
All right, Dave.
Cool.
You're just like that now because you've had a wee.
Yeah, I know, I am. But I was just saying that, like, okay, so what's his point? And his point is that raves they're not edgy anymore, basically. See, I just explained that in like 4 words. I don't know how you couldn't. But like, basically, yeah. So like, raves used to be about like people just letting loose and going wild, and now they're all like soft sort of thing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, another interesting comment by Natalia Tuesday, who states here, quote, hot take, not everyone can afford a sleepless night.
He's got a point.
I also would say that's a fair point. Yeah, I'll go with that.
She's got a
obviously,
point,
obviously, Uke Brandstrat does raise some interesting points here, Dave. But how would you personally unravel his argument, so to speak?
There is a thing of nostalgia being like a thing at the moment, and that's that's across the entire entertainment industry. It's not just music, it's films, it's video games, etc., etc. It is a bit worrying, to be honest with you.
Mhm.
The reasons as to why that's happening, I feel, is because my personal belief is that budgets are getting bigger and bigger. And when a budget gets huge, you need guaranteed wins. And a guaranteed win is nostalgia. There's no room left for the experimental budgets. Someone put it best the other day of the. Do you know what I mean by the 7 out of 10 games? Do you know what I mean by that?
No.
So if we go back to the PS2 days, I'm going to use video games as an example because I think that's the best way to explain it. Or you can even equate this to movies as well.
Yeah.
There was both games and movies that were called the 7 out of 10 games, or like the 3-star movies. And it's the idea, it's a film or a game, which is not phenomenal, but it's interesting.
Yeah.
And the thing is, they made those films, and they made a profit on those films because the budgets weren't extortionate. They were mid budget,
Yeah.
and decent-ish outcome, right?
Yeah.
That's where innovation happens. It happens in the grassroots. It happens in the mid-range, but it doesn't really happen at the top end because as soon as you start putting like thousands and billions of dollars, or not billions, but like millions of dollars into a project, you can't just experiment at that point. You've got to have a guaranteed sell, and a guaranteed sell is nostalgia, right? And that's sort of the problem. As if we're going to equate this to music industry, you've got these ginormous festivals. Of course, they're going to book the headliners they booked last year because they have to sell out. There's no question of maybe not do as well as last year. It has to sell out. So they have to use the same tactics again and again and again. You go backwards in the music industry, and you used to have little gigs that, I don't know, experimented basically, right? And I don't know, but I mean, that's that layer of it. And then the other part of it where he's talking about like how soft raves have got, I feel like that's a bit more difficult, but I feel that there's like a cultural shift. Like people, a lot of different generations go to the nightclubs, right? And I feel like if you look at where it began in like fire and brimstone. You know what I mean? It's a lot of pissed off people basically wanted to let loose and sort of go nuts. And I think the clientele has changed throughout the years. But where are we now? Right? What's the vibe? How do people let loose now? How do people just sort of detach from the reality? Can they afford to? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's all
Well,
questions that come into the question, right? So
yeah, I think that is the biggest hitting nail on the head there, isn't it? Is can people afford to?
yeah,
And and Jojo Nardini comes in here with a comment here saying, quote, "Coffee raves are just a way to have fun without alcohol and without having to go back home at 5 a.m. It's not that deep. Let's not overcomplicate everything."
yeah.
Because I know.
Yeah, I've just complicated it right there, right? But like, yeah, I agree with that. Like, sometimes just having fun, right?
Or is it, as you Brandstrat said, a late capitalist psyop?
I don't really know what it means by that. What do you mean?
I don't know either. I was hoping you would know. No, those words terrified me, to be honest with you.
The coffee shops themselves are? I don't understand. What is the psyop?
Well, maybe you Brandstrat can come back with us. But hey, you Brandstrat, if you ever come across this podcast, fear not. We are not. We are not. Yeah. No, wait. We're not shitting on you. It's just it's a very interesting topic. But yes, of course, you can by all means come back to us with a comment should you wish. And my goodness, Rubes _OV _Lud comes here with a comment here saying, quote, "Good take. Old fart here who lived through the 80s and 90s and still takes an interest in these things. I debated this with a friend recently who thought it was a good thing that young people are concerned about health and wellness and have access to much better resources than we did as kids." Hold your horses. I take this point, but I've worked with young people over several decades and noticed how puritanical they've become. Mark
I think
Fisher's got a point. I hear echoes in my teen and young adults' years in music, see it in fashion, but what's absent is the attitude. End quote. Dave Collins.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to explain. So different generations have different ways of doing things, and the younger generation now is kind of health conscious in a way that like we were when we were growing up. You know what I mean? So there's literally people on the younger generation that just don't drink because why? Why would you? Do you know what I mean? And you get enough of that, and then the idea of a nightclub, it starts to change. Do you know what I mean? Or like a music venue, it starts to shift a little bit, it starts to change. So I can totally see that, because if there's a lot of people that don't drink, well, they still want to listen to music, you know what I mean? So it's natural that music will start to appear in different places.
Yeah, I guess, and I think if rather than drawing into the psychology and theory behind some of these things, in a general sense, soft clubbing or coffee raves or what have you, are we saying don't go to them because you're part of the system?
No,
You're contributing to the downfall. You're part of
I
the
think
system.
I think it should be go to whatever you think you enjoy, right?
No.
Just why not? They're not harming anyone. They can just do what they want. You can analyze this all day long and say, you know, why is clubbing changed, and you know, why is it so edgy back in the day and now it isn't, and why has everything got so, you know, different? But hell, man, like people will just do what people do, and what they're going to change their mind because I tell them no, don't do it. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like it's very old man yells at cloud a little bit to me. Sort of like, yeah, just let people do what they want to do, man. If they want to go to Dubai and have lattes, then they do that. Yeah, they're not the hardcore ravers, but they were never going to be in the first place. You know what I mean? It's
Hey,
just
well,
everything's a rave now. That's the problem. Like everyone's like, I'm going to a rave. That means 200 things now, but it meant one thing in the 90s. You know what I mean?
You struck gold with that comment there, is that not like, you know, not everyone will be a raver or not everyone will be someone who goes clubbing, but
Not
they'll
everyone
obviously
always
go to
was.
these things and it fits nicely with
Yeah.
what they either want or what they want to do or what have you. I 100% agree with you there, and I think that's a very interesting point. Dave, if there's a coffee rave happening in your area, are you going to it? Yes or no?
I don't know, why not? I mean, I don't even know what they look like. I mean, that's a bit of a flaw. I want to know what a coffee rave actually is. Like, are we talking Starbucks or what? I don't understand. Like, how it would even look. Or do they sit around on tables sipping coffee? Like, how does it work?
Yeah, I mean, well, actually, only recently, I think it was actually yesterday, just in closing. I'm just gonna see. I'm sure I saved it somewhere. I wasn't actually going to include this in the podcast, but oh man, there's so much crazy stuff that I haven't covered yet. That's just all in this feed. Did I save it somewhere?
I will say though, is that like I think I said this before. I do think, for the sake of us all, I think I would like to see music evolve outside of its current trajectory, if you know what I mean. I don't want to be, you know, we're getting older, right? Is it going to be the scenario where the only place we can go and enjoy electronic music is like the club in 20 years' time? Do you know what I mean? Because we'll be the oldest fuckers in the room at that point. Do you know what I mean? So, like, there needs to be something else than just like, you know, the student bar or something to sort of have this sort of music. Do you know what I mean? Like, you start to get that. You've got gigs and you've got more people now will go out to see a band or a DJ than ever before, but they'll see it in different ways. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's less about going to the club and getting loaded on booze and more about going to a gig to see an act. And that's been a shift, right? Because that isn't how it used to be. You know, it used to be just people going utterly nuts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I actually didn't have the clip that I was looking for, but yeah, essentially what I saw was well, maybe I can look it up actually. Am I mental? Hang on.
But you see what I mean, right? Like, I do think we need more ways of enjoying music, and not just like the ways it's always been done. I don't know. I do think that's important for us to explore.
Oh, found it. Brilliant. The powers that be, that is just keyword searching it. So in addition to this, this comes courtesy of 10 a.m. Morning Club. Just bear in mind it's the caption's all in Italian, but yeah, this was 29th of March 2026, 10 a.m. Morning Club party, and that's one of the cafes. It's playing a very popular track, so I can't play it because of copyright. But the caption here says, "quote This is not only this is not only an advert. This is our people." God, this is quite hard to translate. It's the people of Torino that is moving together, that know each other, and that choose something different. 10 a.m. Morning Club is that difference. A point against that of love, respect, and family. People that dance, that raise their hands, that
This reminds me of a little bit. Is like for some reason, have you seen those raves you can go to, like families and stuff?
Yeah, me and Dan actually went to one.
Did you?
Morning Glory, it was called, in London. It was really good.
Right. But it just goes to show, like, there's more ways to do this than just like, let's get absolutely shit faced at 1 a.m. in the morning type of thing. Like, there's different ways to enjoy this music than just that. And looking at that, I see a lot of people that are buzzing and happy, and I don't see anything wrong with that. That's pretty cool.
Or is that late capitalist psyop?
Again, I don't really know what you mean by that, because they're all choosing to be there. They all seem happy.
Yeah. Well, that was just that's a key word I've literally nicked from you, Brandstruck, because I think it sounds excellent. just to throw the statement at you, just to try and throw you off. But I mean,
yeah, I mean, the only thing I can like relate to is like the idea that what this is used to came from something kind of special, kind of underground, right? It came from the clubs of the 90s sort of thing, where they were a subculture, they were escape, and now they've become normalized, right? And I understand that perspective, right? It has become normalized, but I like to feel that now we've got more choice on how the music's experienced, instead of just saying this little subculture's just for us. Do you know what I mean? Now it's almost like feeling like now it's for everyone, sort of thing.
Absolutely.
I don't know. It depends on my opinion of that is. Some people say that's ruining the industry, but in a weird sort of way, I feel like it's expanding it at the same time.
I'd agree with you. Like, it is in the sense of expanding the industry, because obviously, you couldn't go to a coffee pie before. Well, maybe you could. I don't know, but it was something that wasn't really spoken about, or you ever really saw. But I mean, even here, the point of view here, a Sunday morning at the Central Market Torino, and hey, I mean, that's a lot of people that want to go to a party on a Sunday morning as well. And actually, I think it's incredible that you see two people down here like drinking wine by the looks of things. But obviously, I'm assuming it's.
I mean, it's sort of missing the point. But yeah,
wild. But yeah, what can I say? And even says here, quote, a collective energy that unites generations, that puts together kids, youths, and adults. A new mode.
Yeah, this is why I say it
together.
reminds me of that. Yeah, it reminds me of like this sort of communal sort of. But it breaks down the natural age groups, so like family sort of event type of thing.
Yeah, I would say so. We could definitely say in closing, change of faces. We're all right with it. And if you do want a
on the face of it, it looks pretty cool. But like I said, it does sort of put into question what the clubs look like in 20 to 30 years time, because are we going to lose the nightclub as a concept?
Well, this is
You know what I mean?
yeah. This
we-
is that's the other side of the argument.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I totally respect, right? It's already on life support in the idea of the
Mhm.
underground nightclub. And so if you start to make it for everyone, do you start to lose the essence of what it actually is, you know, at its core?
Yeah, and if
Maybe.
everyone's partying in the coffee shop, are they not partying in the club? You know, but that's
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's good point.
that is where we will leave it, folks, because we've only got a few seconds left. But
Oh wow, yeah, sorry.
shit. Don't worry, Dave. We're going to lock this down very quickly. But hey, folks, if you enjoyed all of this, be sure to like and subscribe or follow whatever on YouTube, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast from, or direct on Changing Faces, Changing Faces Live. Check out our latest updates at Hey Changing Faces on both Instagram and Facebook, or at Changing Faces RS on X. And for everything else, just visit changingfaces.live, because we've got all sorts of stuff. And be sure to look out for YouTube highlights of all the random shit that we've spoken about today. But that's it for everyone. Thank you very much for joining us, and see you in the next one. Say goodbye, Dave.
See you later.
See you until next time, folks. Bye. Bye bye.